Here we go, Kings of War players. This is an Alpha Strike Basilea list versus an Alpha Strike Elves list. So who shall come out on top? Stay tuned to find out.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Okay, welcome back. And so these are our lists. Now, if you have been playing in the tournament circuit, you can probably tell who's the pilot of the Elves list. This is quite signature of that player. And this is a game played somewhere in March between Call to Arms 3 and Call to Arms 4. There was a 4-week tournament, and this was my round 2. And looking at our list, my list only has a shooting in the form of a wizard with boomstick, so that's a total of lightning bolt 7, while my opponent has 2 archmages for a total of lightning bolt 10 that has elite on it, and some sprinkling of shots from 2 regiment of archers, so that's 20 shots. Does the chariot shoot? I think it does. So, and he also has 11 drops because my units are very expensive. We both have dragons. He has the Dracon Riders while I have Elohai with Brew of Strength, so my Elohai does cost more than my opponent. In terms of inspiring, I think he has only 2 inspiring sources. The dragon itself and the Archmage that has the inspiring talisman. So let's look at our deployment, and we're playing Raise. So when you're playing Raise, right, one of the common things that happen when you're placing token, you'll realize that you can place 2 on one half if you split the map down the center line like this vertically. So let me draw that. Okay, so if you split down the center line, there is starts with objectives in the center that can't be removed. Okay, and that creates a 12-inch bubble that you can't place any tokens at. So let me just draw that out there. So somewhere around here, right? So you'll find that you will, it looks like a soccer field or something. So you will be able to place 2 tokens on one half of the board, and the other one, because of this bubble over here, you can only place it, the closest you can place it is somewhere here. So you usually place 2 on one side and 1 on the other half. And then for the opponent, they'll do the same. So notice that we place exactly opposite, right? He placed 2, so he's attacking 2 tokens on his left side, while 1 token on the right side. For myself, I'm attacking 2 tokens on the right side, while 1 on the left. So usually my strategy would be to take the 2 on the opponent's side and take the center. And then the token over here, you try to defend it. So you have 3 and most opponent will have 2. So I was planning to give up this token right from the start. So you can see I'm heavily deployed more towards the right side and center. And then you can see these are my drop numbers. So the last drop was the ogres. I was hoping to play a little bit of delay against his forces on the left. And one of the first mistakes I made was that I forgot that Dracon Riders was height 4, because I'm so used to playing my Elohai being height 3 because they're large infantry. Dracon Riders are large cavalry, height 4. So I thought my ogres could hide behind the hill from the Dracon Riders, but clearly that's not the case because Dracon Riders can see over the hill, which is a huge advantage, right? So I thought I could hide behind the hill to protect the tokens here. So let's move on to top of 1. So I moved up. So at this point, I haven't remembered that Dracon Riders are height 4 yet. So I'm just moving up, staying behind the hill, right? And then for the center, I moved up and I used my Elohai hid behind the building. And anyway, this flank is cannot be charged at. So I think even if the Elven Prince here can see me, he's in the flank and couldn't charge me, right? And what else? So on the right side, I'm planning to win this side. So my only piece of chaff, which is the Gur Panthers, stood in front of this cavalry so that I can get the first charge on the chariot. Okay, and then the dragon naturally outthreats the chariot. So let's see what he did in response. So he moved these 2 pieces up aggressively, staying out of charge range, as you can see here on the left. So in the center, he shuffled things up. The cavalry stayed out of the Elohai's line of sight. And one thing that I'm losing badly here in the center is that the cavalry, his cavalry, the Stormwind cavalry, and then the Prince on horse, they are all speed 9. That means they outthreat my cavalry. So this is the part that I'm struggling with here. And even if I try to move my Elohai out to threaten, he could just put his prince up in front, because his prince could threaten to ground my elo high, and so then I would be losing this trade because he has this extra piece of chaff here. Perhaps I could have used my Abbas more to the center, but it's trying to gut the side here in case the dragon turns around to face my elo high. So on the right side, all the shooting took out my these Gur Panthers. So in my response, let's look from left to right. So first thing on the left is that my ogres, at this point I realized that the Drakon Riders can see my ogres, so I knew that I'm going to be dead, getting double charged by them. So instead of just staying back there, I decided to move it all the way up. Why did I do this? Because firstly, the dragon is straddling the fence over here, the obstacle. So now when he charged into my ogres, he will be hindered. So I'm just bringing the combat to difficult terrain, right? The Drakon Riders will charge in, and now I'm away from the token. If I would have stayed near the token, he could have killed me and taken the token in one turn. So now when he charges in, unless he gets a good overrun, he will not even be able to take this token. So that would at least delay them for one more turn. So my Abbas started charging the dragon in the flank, and I've already made up my mind that I will use the Abbas to delay the dragon from coming to the center. The Abbas earlier was hiding behind the building because two archmages could put some hurt into the Abbas if I didn't hide her rather. So in the center, I decided to push my knights up to be charged at. So I was hoping that I would survive, and then after I survived, I would be able to counterattack. And if I had survived, I will have two sides to counterattack at. So I'm letting his cavalry charge me. Okay, and over on the right side, so my two units took out the chariot, and then now my elo high is somewhat flying towards the center. So I'm trying to threaten as many things as I can. So let's talk about left to right. So he took out my ogres as expected. His overrun was only 2, so he didn't get to the token. And then the dragon turned around to face the center of the board, but now my Abbas is facing it in front. The center was especially painful because what happened is that the knights and the Elven Prince charged in, and with probably Bane Chan support, killed off my knights. So my very expensive knight unit was just taken out like that. And on top of that, I thought I could double charge into the knights, right? But actually the placing of this prince, although it's yielding, it is in a way that it blocks the landing spot for my charge. So for yielding individual, it says that units can move through it, and for chargers, they still have to end the move part of their charge clear of the yielding individual. So the charge has 3 parts: the move, the align, and the shuffle. So even just from the move, so the moment I make contact with the knights, I have to be out of the footprint of the yielding individual, which I couldn't do in this case because if I draw it, okay, and then if I make contact with the knights, even at the furthest corner, part of my base is still touching the individual. So because of this, I couldn't charge the rear of the knights just like that. So let's look at the right side. So after these chariots go down, the archers decided to charge the knights on the right side, and it dealt the one important damage to disorder it. So now I'm charging back with no crushing strength, and the archers are surprisingly quite good at defense. They are defense 4. A lot of shooting units are defense 3, but they are defense 4. And on top of that, their nerve is pretty respectable at 14, 16. So I wouldn't be able to take it out with one attack from disordered knights. I could use my dragon, but right now my dragon is sorely needed to help the center. So I decided to swing the dragon to the center instead and let the knight slowly take out these archers. So what I did in my response, so from left to right. So the left side, my Abbas grounded the dragon with 1 damage because it's charging in hindered. So in the center, so I charged the elo high in, and so my foot guard charged the prince. It does have 2-handed weapons, so it does have crushing 1. Unfortunately, no Bane Chant in my list. 8 hits, crushing 1 rather, so 4 damage is the average, and I do have a dread from the elo high over here, so I was hoping this is a 5. I only need an 8 once to take it out because he has no inspiring. The inspiring is on the dragon and probably this archmage over here. So if I roll that 8 once, I will take it out and rear charge, and then things would be looking better for me because I'll take out the knights, and then I'll front face the palace guard, And on top of that, my lightning bolt did waver his Archmage, and this is probably the one with this Bane Chant. So without Bane Chant, I might have a chance to survive against the Palace Guard. So at last, this crucial combat here did not go in my favor. At this point, I think the battle is downhill, right? So my dragon did charge and take out the Forest Guard over here, and then it's threatening the center. So let's look at what happened next. I missed one screenshot in between, so bottom of 3 picture is missing. So let's see, a lot of things disappeared, right? So the Abbess was dead, alright. The Dracon Riders flew over and took 1 token. The Knights probably charged back at the Elo High together with the Palace Guard, took out the Elo High, and then so I probably finished the Knights and the Prince itself. But now the Palace Guard is staring at me, and then the Dragon is on its way over. And over here, I managed to grind through 1 unit of archers. Then he sent the 2nd unit of archers in, so my Knights will be stuck combating these archers over here. Let's look at the response from my opponent. So firstly, the Dracon Riders flew over to pick up the other token. Palace Guard did kill off the Foot Guard, and then yeah, so he charged at the thing that he's likely to take out, right? So he did charge at the Foot Guard, so that he can prepare for 1 charge, or rather double charge from these 2 units, but then his dragon will be into support, his Dracon Riders will be into support at this point of time. Looking at the map, I think my Lightning Bolt Wizard got taken out by his 2 Lightning Bolt Archmages eventually. So you can probably guess what's gonna happen. So I double charge in, hoping to take out something, but failed to do so. He took me out, right? So at least I still got both the tokens, right? So I still have that 2 VP, and then his token is way over here, and you can see that my Elohai is getting out of there. He's trying to fly for the last token. Okay, we're missing 2 shots, the top of 6 and bottom of 6, but there is a turn 7 which allowed both of us to, so for me to reach this token over here, and for him to threaten and kill off these knights over here. I am on the fence, but he hasn't used his Jesse's boots on his Dracon Riders yet, so he is charging in without penalty and already 2 wounds on the knights, so there is a good chance of taking it out with that crushing 2. The most amazing part about Elven combat is the elite, right? So with that 1 charge, it took out my knight. And so pretty handily, we both got 3 tokens each, but he is holding the center with the Palace Guard. So quite a bloody battle. Let's move on to learning points. So for offensive unit, right, attacking aggressive units, height 4 and above is really good because that prevents the opponent from using the heal to prevent line of sight to them. So that's talking about the Dracon Riders and of course the Dragon. Now if you're already losing on one side, think of how you can play to maximize the delay on the opponent. So this is talking about my Ogres here moving forwards, so that firstly I was hoping to survive from the fencing from this dragon, and if I already did 2 damage with the Abbess, right? Hopefully I could waver it or take it out. So even if that failed, right, he still need 1 more turn to pick up the token. So if I stayed near the token, he would pick it up in the same turn. Using a cheap unit with good nerf to charge and strip the Thunderous Charge off of cavalry is really good, like his archers. 2 waves of archers basically stop 1 unit of cavalry the whole game. One of the smart things you can do with blocking terrain is to stop charges from one side. So I used it for my Elohai. Not sure if it was the best plan to do so, but because my Elohai was more towards the left, right, so it needs to slowly swing over towards the center. So probably, without Nimble, the Elohai really has limited positioning options. So I think this was still pretty good. So I probably need more chaff in my list to set up favorable trades, especially when his cavalry out-threats mine. So if I did have 1 more Gur Panther unit in the center to block off charges, I could move my cavalry up aggressively. So at most he lightning bolts off even if he lightning bolts off the Gur Panthers, my knights could charge out. So this is a very smart play from my opponent. With yielding individuals, you can still block charges. So this is my picture to show that if you see here, even if I charged in, even if I contact the knights at the furthest point, my edge is still touching the hero over here. So after playing alpha striking list versus alpha striking list, I think Elves they are a little bit more fragile. Actually, they're much more fragile, but they do have the best offensive power in the game due to them having elite in most of their units. When you're elite and hits on trees, it's very common that you get almost all hits or even all hits. Even the dragon itself with elite and a blade of slashing, so he gets to reroll his 1s and he gets to reroll one of his 2s, and that usually results in 8, 9 or even all 10 hits on the dragon. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this battle report. If you do so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notifications to be notified when I come up with a new video, and I will see you in the next battle report.